Shri Ganesha Sharada Gurubhyo Namaha Agajanana Padmarkam Gajananam Aharnisham Anekadam Tam Bhaktanam Ekadantam Upasmahe. Welcome to all for this session on Ganesha Purana to chapter 59. And on this earth, everything happens for some or the other reason. Incidentally, on that day when Shurasena was watching, he saw the divine vehicle of Indra falling down to earth. And when he went and talked to Indra, Indra told him about the about the purpose of his journey, that he went to visit the sage Brushundi, who himself was a very evil person in the past, and because of the compassion of sage Mudgala, he had performed a severe austerity and had got an appearance similar to that of Gajanana. And then he took the Upadesha of the single syllable mantra and recited that single syllable mantra of Gajanana and had the appearance of Gajanana and lots of boons for himself. Then Brahma continued the story. O Vyasa, after Shurasena had heard the excellent story from Indra, who is attended by the Maruts, he was pleased because he had heard an immortal tale, and King Shurasena questioned Indra again. In what way does your vehicle can go to heaven, O Lord of the gods? Show me that way, O Lord, or tell me how I can do it for you. Because now the heavenly vehicle of Indra fell down to earth. So Shurasena is asking him, what is the remedy for that, so that the vehicle can fly again, so that Indra and all other gods who are traveling in that can return back to their world. The question being put, Indra, the killer of God's enemies, smiling again addressed the king while all the people were listening. Were a certain person, Brahmin or a Kshatriya, if he had performed this Vratha called Sankashta Chaturthi in your city. Sankashta Chaturthi is a Vratha to be conducted on particular auspicious day. We will hear about that. It's again another like the Vinayaka Chaturthi, Sankashta Chaturthi is another Vrata of Gajanana. So if there is anyone, a Brahmin or a Kshatriya or anybody who has performed this Vrata of Sankashta Chaturthi in your city, O excellent king, and if his merit acquired over a year was correctly offered, the enjoyer of the earth, this vehicle will set out immediately, but not otherwise, even with 10,000 men. Even if 10,000 men struggle or put any power existing on the earth, it will not be sufficient to let this aerial vehicle, the divine vehicle, to fly. The only way in which someone can make this vehicle fly is if they share whatever virtue they have got because of performing the Sankashta Chaturthi Vrata. So here that was the purpose, to tell the speciality of another Vrata of Gajanana known as Sankashta Chaturthi. The king said, tell me, oh, this is again by the Vyasa or by the Somakanta. Okay. Tell me, sage, what is this Vrata or called as Sankashta Chaturthi? What is its merit, its result, its ritual, and of whom is it the worship? Who performed it in the past, and will it produce success when performed now? He is actually, it is King Shurasena who is asking this to Indra. O Indra, kindly tell me all this at length. So he is now asking the details of that vrata called as Sankashta Chaturthi, how it should be performed, and what is the merit of it, what is the result of that, and whether anyone has conducted this in the past. So Indra started replying to him. In this connection, there is told this ancient legend which concerns a conversation between the great Narada and Kritavirya. On earth, there was a strong king called Kritavirya who was disposed out to the earth, munificent, a sacrificer, proud, and a great chariot warrior. He had mastered his senses, was moderate in respect of food, honored the gods and Brahmins, and of his warriors, elephants, charioteers, and all his archers, who beside in the region of Sakhya mountains, there is no reckoning. In his palace there were golden conchs and vessels, but nowhere was there a cooking bowl made of Audumbara wood. He had 12,000 Brahmins who ate together as a group. So, such was the great wealth of the king Prithvirya, who lived somewhere near the Sakhya hill range. That's in the southern part of India. His wife was called Sugandha, and she was devoted to the law, loyal to her husband. Her husband was her life. Indeed, she was an exceptionally captivating woman in the triple world. Very lovely in her many ornaments, she was well disposed towards guests, Brahmins, and gods. If you observe one speciality in the whole of Puranas, is that if a person is very virtuous, is a very sacred person, most of the time it is all because of his wife, who also was equally virtuous, and she helped him to become a great man. Had these two, husband and wife, they were sonless, they didn't had any offspring who will be the heir to their throne. Even though they had intercourse to obtain a son, they both undertook vows, vratas, gift giving of all types, austerities, minor restraints, and other sacrifices which involved many honorariums. They also visited many sacred spots, sacred divine spots, and sacred places because of their wish to obtain a son. But even with that, no son appeared because of evil acts they had committed in previous births. Because most of the time, when they had some suffering in their life, it is assumed that it is because of some evil act they have committed in the previous birth. Because in the present birth, they may be doing everything good, but still, if they face a problem, they assume that it may be because of some evil act committed in the previous birth. One day after the distressed king had summoned his advisers and had given them his kingdom, seal, treasury, subjects, and his sovereign lands, in fact, had given them everything, both husband and wife went to a magnificent forest where, clothed in buckskins and deerskins, they undertook austerities. They conquered their senses, conquered their desire for food, and ate withered leaves and air. Then Narada, who with a mere glance had observed these two as just described, because they were almost at the verge of dying because they were not eating anything and performing severe austerity, staying in that dense forest. So Narada, who saw them almost at the verge of dying and dying without having any offspring, yes, that too especially male offspring, because especially male offspring or a son can offer all the Pindu Pradana and other thing to the Pitrus. So if a person die without a male offspring, then neither he will have the Pitrakarya being done, nor his forefathers will going to receive any such kind of Pitrakaryas. That is the reason why in Indian culture people are so much interested in having a son. So then Narada, with a mere glance, had observed these two as just described. He went to heaven, spoke to Kritavirya's father, who was in the world of the deceased ancestors, that is the Pitraloka. Because he has no son, your son is near to death. Kritavirya will be in the world of death tomorrow, and he will die the next day. But if he had a son who would show him the world of heaven, he could then live, or when dead, go to heaven. So, since the father of Kritavirya, since he is in the Pitraloka now, he has a contact. He could able to go to heaven. He could able to go to Brahmaloka. He could able to go anywhere. But Kritavirya cannot go because he is a mortal. Now, if the father of Kritavirya, unless and until he finds a way with which his son Kritavirya will also get a son, his whole ancestry will fall into the heaven. Narada left after he had said this, but while still on earth, he was traveling back. He saw an amazing thing. Vishundi's parents, his two sons, wife, and daughter, were upside down in the fiery Kumbhipaka hell, which was filled with blazing flames. Because till this time, Vishundi had now become a great sage. He had left his family and he never returned back to his family. Probably in the meantime, his parents, his wife, his children, his daughter, everyone had died, and they all because of the evil act with which they were all living. Brishundi is saved because of his great austerity, but his family is fallen into Kumbhipaka hell, where they were baked with of blazing flames. Yama's messengers were striking them, and they uttered many pitiful cries. After Narada, as the repository of compassion, had heard their weeping, he came and spoke to Brishundi of their distress, because it was earlier because of the evil act of Brishundi in the forum, in the earlier part of his life when he was Kaivartaka. He was living with that family. Now Brishundi is saved. Brishundi has become a great sage, but his whole family is fallen into that Kumbhipaka hell. So, out of compassion, Narada came to Brishundi and he told him what he saw in the hell. The host of gods led by Indra and the sages led by Kapila came to visit the man who had Heramba, that is Gajanana's appearance, and they said, as a result of that transgression from an evil man Kaivartaka to a great sage Brishundi, of as a result of what transgression are your parents, wives, sons, daughters, and servants cooking in this cooking pot in the Yama's world? Narada is telling this to the sage Brishundi. You have achieved so many things. You became a great sage. Even gods led by Indra and the sages led by Kapila came to visit you, and they feel that you are just by seeing you, they feel themselves it had become auspicious for them. But what of the use? Because your own parents, wives, son, daughters, servants, everybody has fallen into the Kumbhipaka hell where they got cooked in a cooking pot in the Yama's world. And given that you have gained wisdom, why then you are not aware of this? O great sage, you must act diligently to rescue your ancestors. After Brishundi has heard the speech uttered by the sage, he became quite pained and blazed like a fire, being very distressed because of his father's pain. Then thought about a way to effect their rescue, and perceiving one by deep meditation, Brishundi, who knows what is the secret, then offered the prosperity produced from from the Vratha of Sankasta Chaturthi, which he himself had done. So what he did was he offered all the prosperity what he got from the Sankasta Chaturthi Vratha, then placing an auspicious liquid in his hand, auspicious water in his hand, and meditating on the god Gajanana, he spoke, entreating the god Gajanana for the sake of his deceased ancestors. Krishundi said, if I devoutly undertake the Gananatha's Vrata for you, quickly rescue my elders, quickly rescue my family with your power, O Gajanana, because he performed that same Sankashta Chaturthi Vrata, and all the immense merit or immense benefit he got from that Sankashta Chaturthi Vrata, he gave it to his family so that they will be saved from the hell. After he had said this, he poured the liquid onto Gajanana's hand, and as soon as the water had been poured, all of them, that means all his family, his servants, their appearance that of God's ascended vehicles, and attained the Ganesha Loka. So from the hell, they all went directly to the Ganaloka, Ganesha Loka, by virtue of Gajanana's favor being attended by nymphs, praised by celestial sages, and chorused by celestial musicians. And there were other men, evildoers, in the same Kumbhipaka hell, and all of them too went in the vehicles to Ganeshwara's heaven. Such is the power of the Sankashta Chaturthi Vrata as it was performed by Brishundi when he gave the merit of that Vrata to his ancestors. It is not just his family who had gone to Ganesha Loka with a aerial vehicle which came from the Ganesha Loka, not just his family, but all those evildoers who were surrounding them in that Kumbhipaka hell, they all went to Ganesha Loka. Such is the power of the Sankashta Chaturthi Vrata. I have now told you the greatness of this Vrata due to the merit of one day of which all of these went the way of the good, not even a residue of the merit of one who diligently undertakes this Sankashta can be calculated. Hence, through its power, my vehicle should move. Thus ends the 59th chapter of Upasana Khanda of the glorious Ganesha Purana, in which Shurasena asked Indra about the details of the Sankashta Chaturthi Vrata. While telling the story, he started with the story of Kritavirya, how Kritavirya had no son, and he started performing austerity and almost a fast unto death. But by that time, Narada went and told the father of Kritavirya, you need to do something so that your son will get a son, so that all your ancestors will be able to reach the heaven. But in the meantime, while sage Narada was returning back to the earth, he saw the parents and the family of sage Brishundi being fallen into the Kumbhipaka hell. In order to save them out of compassion, he told this to sage Brishundi, who had gave up, who had given all the merits of performing, because he had performed a Sankashta Chaturthi Vrata. So all the merit, all the benefit he got from performing that Sankashta Chaturthi Vrata. he generously gave it to his family so that his family is saved from the hell. And at that very moment, several aerial vehicles came from the Ganesha Loka, and they took all his family, and not just his family and servants, even all evil doers in that Kumbhipaka hell were also taken to the Ganesha Loka along with the family of the Brishundi. And such is the power of the Sankashta Chaturthi Vrata. And now, if there is anyone who has performed the same Sankashta Chaturthi Vrata in the kingdom of Shurasena, and if they come and have a look at that divine vehicle of Indra, then it will be cured and it will be able to fly again back to heaven. Namaste Sharada Devi Kashmir Puravasini Twamaham Prarthaye Nityam Vidya Danancha Dehime. Goodbye.